Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a wonderful one out there. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today we're going to listen to Freddie Hubbard. We're going to listen to this track of which maybe you are familiar with, Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey. Of course, this was originally from Paul McCartney over on Ram. We have listened to the original, by the way, in case you want to go check that out. We're going to listen to his cover and his performance of this track off of his album, First Light, released in 1971. We're listening to this because it was suggested and sponsored by Joe. So, Joe, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the suggestion. The name Freddie Hubbard is really familiar to me, but I can't exactly tell you exactly where I've heard his name. I can't. His name looks familiar. I'm looking at like the music that he's played on and the albums that he's played on and such, but I feel like I've heard his name in a very specific context that I can't find. I'm just looking really quick. He's played with George Benson, Art Blakely, Kenny Burrell, like a lot of John Coltrane, of course, Ornette Coleman, Bill Evans, a lot of notable names. Herbie Hancock. Like I couldn't tell you where I've seen his name, but I know I've seen his name somewhere. Anyways, I'm excited to dive into this one. Let's go ahead and do so. We'll discuss it after. Here we go. That melody is immediately recognizable. What a great transformation into this jazz essence. Love how those strings come. The drums are really good. What a fantastic cover this is. Great translation of the vocal. Big stop. a jam. Great liberties, man. So beautifully ominous. That open hi-hat is doing a lot of work. Still got a minute or so left. Magical. That's an absolutely magical piece of music. That's magical. Man, I love this stuff. I love this so much. Of course, like, it's a cover of a track, but there's some liberties taken, right? Yes, you should be taking liberties. It's still, like, carrying some of those really cool vocal lines, of course, from the original. McCartney's melodies are just fantastic, right? Always have been. Duh. It's why his music and the music of the Beatles has been as immortal as it is and as it will be. But the way that Freddie and the rest of the band like take this as the base and build upon this, adding wonderful jazz layers and layers, not only just from his playing, but everyone. And this sounds so incredibly modern too. And it's with a track like this and this particular era of jazz that you can really see how it would morph as well later on into more like hip hop and rap based music, and you're going into like more like 80s and 90s soul and R&B and those kind of things, and Motown and all that stuff. But like, it's just really cool to hear this. This was wonderfully performed, beautifully played. Hubbard is playing trumpets here. I didn't mention that, but of course that is just a gorgeous sound here. And the transition, of course, between the two tracks is also really well handled. It's exciting. The drumming is fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of musicians on here. And one thing that I really enjoyed and I thought was kind of interesting is the string section, in this track. And I just thought it was interesting with how they played in an incredibly subtle and elegant way. It wasn't a track in which the strings came on top of the music and built it up in that grand kind of way, which is fine when that happens. But the way that it was done here was just done with such sublime romance, I would say. There was just a little bit of a hint of that came through and just really enriched the whole performance in every single respect. Ron Carter's on the bass here. He's everywhere, and he should be everywhere. You have George Benson playing guitar, Richard Wyans on piano, Jack DeJohnette on drums. You hear a little bit of flute, Hubert Laws. It's just a wonderful assortment. And as colorful an assortment of instrumentation and playfulness happens here as, of course, I would say, as in the original from McCartney. This was just like, listen to the drums here, man. And of course, there's that transition, right? And how wonderful they build into that. The drumming is so incredibly tight in here. The bass lines, like I said, from Carter are like brilliant. Man. I love Benson, man. I absolutely love Benson. Give me the night, give me the day, give me everything in between. That's just an absolutely brilliant performance. I love that. That is really, really good. That is way up my alley. Let me know what you guys thought of it, of course, in the comments down below. I appreciate the introduction. I appreciate the recommendation, Joe. Thank you so much for that and the support as well. Hope that you guys enjoyed this. Swing on back by again tomorrow, and I will see you all then. Bye, guys.